Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. How are you? Are you doing
I'm great.
good? Okay, great. Uh, Today we are going to talk to Dr. Dan Rubin in Florida, living his best life. At 86 years old, he's an energetic author who empowers seniors to live life with joy, fulfillment, and purpose. And you know what he told me, Brains? I couldn't believe this. And I don't mean to put him on the spot, but I am going to put him on the spot. He said within the last maybe 5 years is when he actually realized and started uh, appreciating gratitude at 86. Now I say that for one or two reasons. Number one, that's my go-to is gratitude first and foremost. My mother made me ingrain that in me when I was a child. You don't do this, you don't do that without showing that you're grateful. But understanding what is gratitude to you, because it's like love, it's like trust, it's subjective. So, what is it that you connect to your higher or greatest source with that you appreciate? And also, it's never too late. It's never too late to recognize it because we just go along to get along. When you wake up in the morning, my neighbor was walking down the street. I asked him good morning. He said, "What's good about it?" I said that your rusty butt woke up. That's what's, you should be grateful for that. People take it for granted. They think that they have to, or they're supposed to, or they're obligated. And that's not it. So we're going to talk to Dr. Dan Rubin about that, his book, and a whole lot more. Let's welcome him to the show. How are you, Dr. Dan?
I am so delighted and honored to be here. And I'll just to use your theme, this is another what I call gratitude moment. I have them all the time. And you're a blessing and a gift to me. And this is a gratitude moment. I'm not here by chance. And
Mm,
uh, how gratitude came to me. I just gave a talk at a senior center yesterday, and
wow.
I told this story. It started out as a little about I don't know exactly when, 2 or 3 years ago. This little teeny smile right here.
Mm, mm, mm.
I could feel it inside, but I don't think anybody could see it
Wow.
in the beginning. But I noticed I'm getting chills just telling you the story.
Mm,
And it grew. It kept getting bigger and bigger. And all of a sudden, it became gratitude. When I smile, I am saying, I'm expressing gratitude.
mm,
Okay. And that became a regular thing. And I started waking up and I do now, every time when I wake up in the morning,
mm,
the first thing I do is say, thank you, God, for today, all my blessings, blah, blah, blah. I give this talk to seniors on what gratitude is, the different ways you can practice it, and how, next to love, it's the most powerful thing that we've been given. It can change your life, and it clearly changed mine. One, because the next connection I made to the smile and gratitude was I'm saying, thank you, God.
mm,
I've always believed in God, but not this way.
mm, mm, mm,
This is more personal and speaks to me being in my heart and connected. And when I go out and speak, or even in this meeting, there's a good chance that most of what I'm going to say to you is coming from here in my heart.
mm. What was
I'm
your
just
epiphany, Dr. Dan? When did you wake up and say, you know what? I'm thankful.
I don't know exactly when. It's just as I said, there's a mystique to some of this because the smile just started happening,
Mm,
and then the next thing was, oh, gratitude, thank you, and the next thing was, thank you, God. So it's like being in the flow.
mhm,
I can give you other stories about when I heard the message, I was listening and I just followed the clues. It's how I became an online teacher. I got this inspiration and idea in a meeting, and the next thing I know, I'm being hired to teach online biomedical courses at a local college.
mm.
And
Well, let's
every
dial
si-
back. Let's dial back. Let my brains get to know a little bit about you and how you show up in the world. Give them your history.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, where did it all begin? I mean, you got
Oh,
ABC.
well,
We could talk
well,
forever.
I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out of my comfort zone here with you because it all began. I wasn't listening. I wasn't aware until 1978. And God in the universe, you may want to edit this out. I don't know. God in the universe, I got a tuba for Daniel, wake up. And I had, without going into any details, I had that in 78 and 2 years later, or a year later, what William James called peak experiences.
Mm,
That's what got my attention.
okay.
But when I give the talk on purpose, I say, have you heard your calling? Well, in my case, I've had four of them. I've had four different callings. The first one was in this peak experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I get how spiritual. I will just mention one teeny tiny little thing that happened over a week in La Jolla, California.
My neck of the woods.
It was a Friday evening, which is the Sabbath for some people.
Mhm.
And I walked in. It was the end of the week for me. I was at the airport for a red-eye flight back to Florida. I walked out into the parking lot right at sunset, and there was this stillness and a presence. And if I ever write this book called What Do I Do in the Meantime? That's a chapter called The Day God Took Out Time to Be with Just Me.
Mm, mm, mm.
That moment in the parking lot. But I forgot. I quit my career and I started wandering and did a whole bunch of stuff. Ultimately, I got back to my hometown of Pensacola, and my dad was still alive. And this was my second calling. I was the director of the AIDS agency in Pensacola,
Mm,
and I was fearless. I learned how to ask for what you want when you're the head of a charitable organization without any problems. That lasted for 2 years, and I left to be trained, and that fell through. But it turns out, I've learned so many things, and one of them is I'm at this place in my life where I look back on my life, and it's like a huge learning experience, all of it.
hmm
And there's this, oh, now I understand what that was for. And in this particular case, it wasn't for me to become the director of an age agency. It was for me to say goodbye to my dad.
mm,
I I got this offer to come out to Austin to be trained to be a national speaker, trainer.
mm.
And I had this last luncheon with my dad to tell him. And my dad had been clipping clippings telling me what he wanted me to do and be for
Mm,
most of my life. I know I never told him how much how I really felt about those.
mm. That's beautiful.
So I go out to Austin, Texas, and within a week I get this call. Your dad has passed away. I wasn't there.
Okay.
Mike and lyrics to music touch me deeply. And one of the songs that hit me there is Mike and the Mechanics, The Living Years. It's about not being there when your dad dies. That was me. But when I look back on it, that's why I really came back to Pensacola to spend that last, not just to spend that last time with my dad, but to give him permission to leave, to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
He
had to
was
go
so
back.
excited about this opportunity I had. He said, I have a prescription slip in my drawer. He was a physician in his handwriting. This was a guy who clipped clippings to tell me how to be and what to do. And this prescription slip says, I'm so happy. I don't have to clip clippings anymore.
Oh.
And I honestly believe I was giving him permission to die. He had done his thing and he didn't have to worry about me anymore, even though he didn't really have to anyway. I'd already been successful.
Now let me ask you a few other questions. Did you grow up with a religious doctrine?
No, I grew up in a liberal Jewish family and in a small community in
Okay.
Pensacola, and we observed the high holidays. I'm sure that's where I got my belief in God.
Right, right,
But all the rest of it, going to worship in a building,
mhm,
I don't need that.
right.
I firmly
Nobody
believe
needs it right now.
God, well, God's right here with you and me meeting right now.
That's right.
I don't need to go
So
anywhere.
I've had that epiphany in my life, but let me tell you, I share my God moment with
Yeah,
you.
tell me.
I had, always believed, but I was in church one Sunday, me, my husband, and my daughter. And at the end, Pentecostal church. And at the end, the pastor comes up, and we be bouncing and playing the music and dancing and speaking in tongues and all that.
Yeah.
He laid hands on me. When he laid hands on me, I passed cold out. I
Yeah.
felt like I was on fire from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. But
Wow.
it wasn't a fire like it was burning my skin kind of fire.
Yeah, I
It's
understand.
like it was a fire that
Passion,
burned
passion.
inside of me. And my tongue started speaking light language. And I
Mm.
started speaking in tongues. Asokoro papasanya turuto sakakanya papesa alakototo seteva hanyirokoto papa. And my daughter and my husband looked at me like, who is this person? I had to come home. I had to just renew myself for a couple days. And from that point on, I have had a awakening, a spiritual calling, a language that I have been able to speak to God to, and about being grateful. There is nothing that tastes better on your tongue than the word thank you. There is nothing sweeter to God's ear than the fact that you are appreciative. And it can be a God, you're a God of understanding. We're respectful of everybody's belief. Even I was telling somebody yesterday, even an atheist will say, oh my God. So they know that there's a higher and greater good. But for you to really come to that realization and that appreciation much later in life is huge. I was there with my mother when she transitioned too. And I got to lay my chest on her chest because she lived with us. She lived with us for 30 years. She lived like a princess. She died on 3,000 thread count Egyptian cotton sheets. I treated
Uh,
her real good. Oh, yes. But she gave me permission to stay, and I gave her permission to go because there is something greater and higher than this. But this is the testing ground. This is the testing ground.
well, we all have a purpose. Not everybody knows that. Not everybody is aware of it. But that's one of the things that I speak to when I go to these senior centers.
What are
Because
the
I can,
seniors saying? What are they, because sometimes seniors they have it rough. They
well,
have it rough.
a lot of seniors are resigned. They believe the myths about being old age, like you're resigned, you can't learn anything, you can't do anything, you're
Mm,
just putting in time. It's
right.
not true. My message when I go to a senior community is the best is yet to come. These are the years when you can have the most remarkable time of your life if you want to. And if you need help with that, I can help you. But that's my message. Okay. And gratitude is the thing. It's like I tell them about 5 different ways. It's not just once in a while. And it's not just thanking God. It's like me, I have gratitude moments all the time. It's
Mm,
the little things. You can use gratitude when you're stressed out, things are going bad. You stop, you close your eyes, and you think of 3 things to be grateful for. It
hmm
could be the cup of coffee you had in the morning. The sun coming up, your heart's beating. Wait, it doesn't matter. It can get you out of that funk of, see, when my talk on gratitude is, well, what's the definition, y'all?
Right.
And the definition is noticing all the good things in your life, especially when there's some not so good things happening. If you focus on them, you can get depressed. But there's scientific evidence now that says people who practice gratitude on a regular basis, they live longer, they sleep better, their health is better, their heart disease is not as bad. It's a whole bunch of stuff.
And it's how you
And it,
treat yourself. You know that it's an inside job.
yes, it
It's,
is. Well,
it's
see,
an
it's all
inside
within
job.
us. We all have all the answers inside. And I like I like the way I can go into what I call go into the stillness, and not the way you do, but I go into the stillness and I connect to my higher consciousness,
That's
to my
right.
intuition, to God. And an example of the mystical part of it is when I go to speak, even now, I'm just delivering a message from my higher power.
That's right.
This thing has taken a turn in the conversation, which we weren't planning on, right?
Hmm.
For me to go into, so I've got thousands of stories. And my latest thing is living a living legacy. A lot of people think legacy is what you leave behind, the
Right.
money, the building, and all that. In fact, my talk in this last speaker competition was that secret. The secret to living life fully is to create a living legacy. And here's how you do that. Here's how you realize all of a sudden you do matter. We all matter. We all have a story. I'm getting to the point where I almost I don't know what the word is. I speak to grandparents too, and I say, "Hey, how many of you have not sat down and told your grandchildren the story yet? Because if you haven't, shame on you. They want to know. Believe me, that's part of your living legacy. Because I don't have that.
You don't have grandchildren?
No, I have grandchildren. Oh, no, they're going to get it from me, but I didn't know my grandparents. I didn't know the stories of my parents. Those generations didn't sit down and tell the stories.
Well, because a lot of times there's some epigenetic, and not with everybody, but for the most part, there's some epigenetical trauma,
Yes,
shame associated, or there's a belief that I want you to do better than what I've done, or you don't need to know that a child should be seen and not heard, but a
there
child
you
should,
go.
but a child should engage because they need to know. If you don't know your history, you have no precursor for your future. And these kids right now, I tell you, they going to hell in a handbasket. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. They communicate so differently. They want to communicate from this
Text,
contact device.
texting. They're texting.
They're texting.
They're not speaking. They're not speaking to each other.
But the thing of it is it's an evolution. There was things they're not speaking to each other, but just like you said, back in the day, you were not taught to speak. So it's an evolved it's an evolution of civilization. We've got artificial intelligence. We've got um, the political thing.
Yeah.
We've got financial things. We've got, sexual morphing. I don't knock it, but I don't understand it.
Well, if you have, here's how I deal with that. You can get caught up in all of that stuff and go nuts.
Right. It's a distraction.
I do have a policy about texting. I'm getting contact from a lot of people these days. And it's these people in this generation that think texting is the only way to communicate. And I hate it. Too much room for misunderstanding. And I say to them, everyone, I said, if you really want to get acquainted with me, you got to talk or video chat. I am not going to sit here and do extensive texting. because it takes too much time, too many opportunities for misunderstanding, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And some of them say, well, they're just, I'm sorry, I'm not ready to talk to you. I say, fine, that's okay.
Mhm.
But my real response to what you just said is this, and this is my real fallback position is that A, everything is always working out for me,
Mhm.
and B, everything is happening for a reason, and I don't have to know why. My faith says, look, there's a higher power that's created all of this, and it's up to me to say, okay, I don't understand God, but just give me a few little hints about where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to do. And it's interesting. I just flashed on a memory. See, I got the calling many times, and I just wasn't listening. I wasn't listening till 2, 3 years ago, but I got called, and I just flashed on when it comes to my belief in God. It's had nothing to do with my tradition. I was so young when I graduated from high school that I wasn't ready to go to college.
Mm.
And my dad had this plan for me, even when I was the youngest, to be take on the family business, which is become a doctor,
Mhm.
a medical doctor.
Mhm.
I became a PhD doctor. That wasn't in his plan. So I went away to this place that gets you into the Ivy League, which I'd never heard of before, but it got me into Harvard. It's Andover. Okay, I went to Andover because I was too young to go to college.
Mm.
And Andover told me about Harvard and said, you're good enough to go there.
Mm.
But one of the things that they had at Andover was every day there was this timeout period where we went into a chapel and it was like prayer time or something. There wasn't a service. There might have been a service, but it was the first time I ever experienced quiet time, just me in my head. And I realize now that if I'd been paying attention then and really listening, I loved that time. I don't know why, but that was probably one of my earliest wake up calls.
But the thing was, at that time, Dr. Dan, it wasn't your season.
Oh no, everything's happened on time.
Everything happens in its perfect time. You get it when you get it. And I'm so glad that you got it before it was all over. So let me ask you some questions.
I got it when I
And
was
what kind
84 or 85.
of, okay, but again, you got it. You know,
Yes,
you got your ticket. It's like Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory. You got the golden ticket. You had to eat a lot of candy bars, but you finally found the ticket. Now, let me ask you something about immortality. Because number
oh,
one, you got a lot of people that, oh, again, like you say, I'm in my 80s, I'm in my 90s, life is over. Me and my husband were talking about that. We were thinking about, okay, we got some things going on. What if we decided to move? Well, we've lived in this house for 31 years. And I said, I don't know if I would be able to move at 63. Well, I don't know why. Dr. Dan is 86, so you got 23 years on me. That's a whole lot of time. Those 23 years is almost the 30 years that I've lived in this particular home. We get stuck. We get stuck.
it's called the
And we
comfort
get,
zone. It's
well, we
called the
get
comfort
comfortable
zone.
and it's complacency. And you
Yeah,
know what else it is? It's fear. It's fear.
yes.
People are living small and they are afraid to connect the dots. But your journey is not over until it's over. I know when my mother was transitioning, I said, oh, mommy, I don't want you to go. I don't want you to go. She said, April, what if I was the last person here? Wouldn't that be horrible? She said, I know more people dead than I do alive. And so Dr. Cornell West told me something when my mother passed.
Yeah.
He said, Sister April, he said, when you come into this world, it's traumatic. He says you are entering in through a portal of between urination and defecation in a puddle of slime and blood. And I was like, ooh, what a visual. He said, but once you come out, there's bright lights and everybody's kissing you and they throwing you a party and they're excited to see you. It's wonderful. Then you've got to travel through this journey called life. But you got to make an exit to your next destination. And some people are cut out, some people are pulled out, some people are shot out. He said, but when you get out, know that there's another party. There's more folks waiting for you. And when he said that, it lightened the load on my heart because I know that there is something that is awaiting me, but I've got to get through this thing called life. Do you at 86 think about your immortality?
Well, you really have opened up um, a whole new topic that's quite, for me, what I've learned recently. That's kind of different from where you're coming from. Um, and I'm just checking with my source whether how much detail I should go into. I will say this unequivocally. You heard it here. I'm not the first person and not the last one to say this. Number one, we're all connected. We're all one. And there's scientific evidence to demonstrate that now. I mean, not just in a symbolic sense, but in a real sense. Number two, there really isn't anything like mortality. That's that's well, you see, there's a notion that I subscribe to. It's a little different. See, I like you. I believe there's a lot of reasons for the diversity that God has given us. If everybody believed the same, looked the same, did the same, it'd be so boring. God would go, gee whiz, I'm
Right.
going somewhere else to have fun. So he gave us this diversity of it's so many levels because there's so many ways to be, so many ways to live, so many ways to fulfill your purpose. The challenge is to come to know and understand the big question, who are you and why are you here? And the non-religious neuroscientific explanation is we're all just particles and waves.
Absolutely. We're all energy. Absolutely.
That's right. And ultimately, the raw energy is out in this thing called the field.
And the
And the
frequency
free, yeah, oh, then you know this stuff. So,
the
okay,
frequency in
so then,
which you travel.
and energy is neither created or destroyed.
Right.
So there's one answer to immortality. If everything, I don't, everything is energy, then this is kind of some people call it an illusion that we're creating because here's the belief system, but one of the belief systems behind all of that is we are souls, spirits having a human experience.
Absolutely.
Well, then you got the answer.
I do. Yeah, well, I'm very comfortable with it. But
Well, I'm delighted to hear that because it's true.
there's a
It's
lot of
not
people
human
though.
beings. It's not human beings who are spiritual. It's spirits who said, "Okay, we're going to do this little experiment." Because not every spirit decides to do the human thing. There's probably
There's
pinball
other
machines.
jobs, right?
There's pinball machines to play because
Absolutely.
because when a spirit or your soul or your higher consciousness, whatever you want to call it, decides to come here for this human experience, there is an obligation. There's a reason.
Oh,
And we all have one. And it's a shame that more people aren't aware of that
well,
and trying to find out what it is.
what they have not realized and they don't know. And again, everything is not for everybody to know. It's like your business. You when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Absolutely. So
Yes.
the situation is um we all signed a soul contract before we came through that portal.
Oh, really?
Oh, absolutely. You picked your parents, your destination,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
your
yeah.
assignment, okay? And I've talked to one of my guests that goes in and talks to these families after these mass shootings. And I was like, number one, what do you say? What do you do? And she said, all you do is you can hold space. That's all you can do is hold space and let them be seen and let them be heard. So
Yep.
some people, unfortunately, soul contract was only till they were going to be 6 or 7. They were here to teach a lesson, to create an experience, an awareness, to see how others are going to respond or not respond. Yes, I know that, oh, no, I don't believe that. Okay, well, believe what you want to believe. You'll find out. And then you have others like Dr. Dan and my mother that have lived decades and they have continuously evolved, continuously shared, continuously learned. Their contract is not up. They signed on for something different. Do you believe in reincarnation?
Um, well, I never think about it that much.
Because what you said
I look,
about
let me put it
energy,
this way. This is just my answer in the moment because I haven't thought about it much. Um, to me, what reincarnation is, those souls who decide they didn't have enough the first time around. They didn't fulfill their mission. They finally got it, but it was too late and they died. And they said, "Well, is there a chance to come back and do this again and maybe have a more fulfilling life, fulfill my purpose better?" That to me would be reincarnation.
hmm, not,
But I never thought about this, or why, why.
well, that's your
I
homework.
mean, what I
Now
mean,
you'll
I
think about
prefer
it.
to think, I prefer the Bud. I like the Budweiser ad is which you only go around once because once is enough. I
Well,
mean, when
you
you
know
think
what?
about what living is and what life is, first of all, it's supposed to be easy, but we human beings somehow didn't get the memo. We go about, as you say, thinking small, complicating, but the truth is, just like everything's happening in the way it's supposed to, it's all supposed to be easy.
Well, I don't believe that. I believe that there is a uh, reincarnation.
Okay.
I do, and I'll tell you why.
For why? Yeah, what do they do?
I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. Number one, I've had too many epiphanies where I have had, and I won't go into too much detail either. We'll talk offline, but I've had an out of body experience where I saw myself in a previous life.
Oh,
There are evolutions. There are things that we are supposed to carry and we were supposed to do. There are things that we're supposed to complete, and there's some things that are not supposed to be completed. When people say, I'm a born again Christian, baby, you just been reincarnated. You have been reborn. You have
well,
been in, but
you know what? I'm sorry if you interrupt. I'm learning so much from you. But this is the whole point. We're each of us unique and different, have a message, a mission, a perspective. And if you're listening, if you're in learning, I'm a former teacher, and all my students fall into one, and human beings, they fall into one of two classes. They're either in learning or they're in resistance. And if they're in resistance, there's nothing you can do. They got all the answers for why things are going wrong, blah, 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 blah. And you're wasting your time. And you just gave me another insight. See, I learn in conversation. I cannot go into a cave and figure any of this out.
that's
So,
huge that you're still open to learning at 86 years old.
yes.
Some people just turn it off.
Well,
And I
this is
was
what I
like,
want to say.
you
This is what I
can't.
want to say. That there's two things that you've triggered in me, I got to say. One is, and I never thought of this. When you decide, yes, I have a purpose, you got to be specific. The people that says, "Oh, I'm going to save the world," they're in deep trouble. It's got to be specific. So I know for me, I don't know how many. I do know I have an important mission, an important message, and it's up to me to get out there and give it. And the people who are supposed to get mine, get it.
Mhm,
Because there's people out there waiting for me to show up,
mhm, 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 mhm.
like you.
Right.
So I mean, see, I'm here listening, looking at you and go, wow, she is fulfilling her mission like big time.
Yeah,
Every time,
absolutely.
every time you interview somebody, you share more of your wisdom.
Well,
And
you know,
let
because
me, I'm sorry, I'm being rude. You're
no,
my host.
no.
Uh, Two things that this is an insight I just got from you. There's a reason for these people that stay thinking small. We're not all 100% spirits to get fully enlightened. Some of us are, some of us aren't. Because those people run around saying, I've got the way. Whoa. You know how many people have met me and said, we're praying for you, doc? I know what they mean. They're saying you're going to you know where if you don't straighten up and join us. I just go, oh my God. Anyway, the other thing, I just realized it gives me, you've just expanded another level of my unconditional acceptance of everybody. Everybody is a learning experience, or could be. Okay, the other thing is this. I got this from one of the meditation people that I listen to. You're talking about what happens when you get born. There's an actual traumatic event.
Yes.
Well, the baby, the fetus, is listening to this thump, 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 the heart of their mother. Thump, thump, thump. For 9 months, it's going thump, 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 thump. It's one way the baby knows it's alive because there's this boom, 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 boom. And there's this moment. I delivered two babies, by the way.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. That's another story. There's this moment at the time of birth when they're born and the boom, boom, boom is gone. All of a sudden, the baby, this 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 tiny little helpless thing, is all alone
Mm. Mm. Mm.
and doesn't hear that boom, 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 boom till his own heart starts to go, and somebody's holding him. But
Well, they're
that's a
holding
major
him.
event.
They're holding him after they have subjected him to corporal punishment. Because the first thing you do when you come out, they gonna slap your bottom or thump your foot. You got this bright light all in your face. You got 4 or 5 people now breathing over you. You're like, what is this? They're dumping you in. This is not the warm
Well,
fluid I was in. This is some
but you
biometric
see,
water.
well, the thing is this. I don't think there's too many OBGYN people and nurses that know what I just said. That there's this initial moment where the fetus becomes an infant and no longer hears mommy's heartbeat. That's a moment right there that something could really be done to change the whole way that baby grows up.
Oh
And
yeah,
because you're right, if they get a lot of physical violence as the first
traumatic. What they've
event.
been and what they've been inside their mother. I mean, you look at unplanned pregnancies, you look at abuse, you look at starvation in certain countries, you look at women that have to give birth not with the assistance of Dr. Dan, but in the bush doing it by themselves. But
Oh
then you
yes.
also look at the beauty of it. I mean, you look at the delivery, you look at mothers that love and nurture their wound and put oil on their skin and talk to their baby and read to their baby. It is a whole
Well,
different
natural childbirth too is a recognition too.
right. They've got the hypnobirthing and underwater birthing. All of this is how you come in. But it's not just how you come in, it's what you do with what you're when you're here, how you process it, how you treat people, how you treat yourself, the conversation that you had, the amount of gratitude, how you pay it forward. You are
Well,
what you
that's
eat.
a yeah, but that's a mixed thing. It depends on who's taking care of you. How are mom and dad? What's the environment which you grow up?
Right?
Because it's now been demonstrated pretty clearly that by the time you're 8 years old, you've got your belief system in place. You have a world view. and you start living that. And for the lucky ones, all of a sudden at some point, could be midlife crisis, could be when you're 84, but not everybody. All of a sudden, for some people, it's wait a minute, wait a minute. I've been I've been doing that for a long time, and a lot of the stuff that I do, a lot of the beliefs I have, don't work for me anymore. I gotta like start being. That's the big message I have for people is guess what? Because I know for me, in order to fulfill my mission, I have to be truly who I am. I mean, absolutely authentically me, not some,
Well, I don't know.
oh, you don't know.
I'm gonna agree to disagree with you because I'm not truly authentic all the time, and I'm gonna tell you, Brain. Sometimes I send my representative. Absolutely, absolutely.
I didn't say you had to be at 24/7.
No, but I'm just saying. People use that big $25 word all the time. Oh, your
What word
true
is that?
authentic. Your,
Oh, oh,
your
oh.
true authentic self. I'm like, you know what? That right there is telling not you. I'm just saying that is inauthentic because you have to edit and filter. You've got to shift. You've got to adjust based upon circumstances,
Yeah.
environment, the people that you're around. A lot of times, people think, oh, she's so outspoken, but sometimes I can be very introverted because I'm taking it all in. I want to process it. I want to
Yeah.
create boundaries.
Well, all the different ways that you are is you being you. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, no, right. No, no, no.
And
I
I
get it.
agree with you. Authentic doesn't describe that.
And but no, the way that people
This
use
is what I said yesterday to 20 women.
ah,
I said
you
I
was in
said
front of 20 women.
20 women showed up. Yep.
Oh,
And
now
I said, number one, you showed up. I said, there's 200 people live here and 20 of you showed up. I don't know where the rest of them are. They may be taking naps, watching TV and taking naps and watching TV and taking naps. So number one, show up, be aware, be open to learning, and just be who you are, whatever that is. The thing is, it's different every day. The problems arise because most people are expecting the same person who was here yesterday.